Today, folks, we've got gobs, oodles, caboodles of jewelry to talk about, and also really doggone cool instruments. We're about to get into some jewelry here, folks. I want to say a couple things. First off, I'm just going to be coming right out and be honest with you. Old Rusty, he makes mistakes sometimes. I'm not I'm not perfect. I don't know everything. Part of what's cool about doing this YouTube channel is that we can share some of our knowledge with you, but also we learn, and that's important. You know what? Whenever I was getting started, that transition between doing things just part-time and full-time, I consumed a ton of YouTube videos from other resellers, and that was incredibly helpful for me. And so I hope it is for you too. But a video ago, I was showing a piece of jewelry, and I was trying to make a point that this is kind of an example of a cheaper piece of jewelry, and on camera, I broke a piece of it. Tried to hide it. Man, I did not fool a lot of you guys. You guys are just smarter than, not that I expected, but I don't know, I just wanted to come right out and say, yeah, I broke it, okay? It was my mistake. I think I proved my point. It was a cheaper piece, but I feel like I want to be honest about even our mistakes as well, and just say, you know what? Sometimes even in the course of trying to make these videos, we make little goof ups. Here's an example. Had a video earlier on where we were talking about different pieces of jewelry, and I made some comment about alpaca mark on a piece of jewelry being silver, and man, have I been lambasted for that. Alpaca is not silver. It's a combination of these alloys and stuff. And you're not wrong, folks. You're not wrong. I must have been just talking out of my backside a little bit or something. I don't know. Maybe I didn't know yet. I honestly don't remember. It's been like 2 years ago or more. So I'm on here to confess. Folks, I said that alpaca was silver, and it is not. Alpaca is not silver, everyone. Don't think it is. All right? Don't say Rusty told you so, because, that was a goof up. So all that to say, folks, we're learning here too. I hope you can learn some stuff. If you hear something that you're not quite sure about, ask us or kindly get on and correct us, and we'll take that for what it is. Again, we're not perfect. We're trying to learn here as well. I'd take that whole video down if it weren't such a successful video for us. Clearly enough people are getting something out of it that I want to leave it up for people. But anyhow, we're going to get into some of this stuff that I've packaged up that we're going to talk about. I'm going to show you how I'm going to list it. We're going to talk a little bit about how we use these listings sometimes to market our store as a primary purpose and not just making the money off the actual item. What do you mean by that, Rusty? Well, let me tell you. Stick around, folks. I promise that as soon as I get done gabbing and giving you a hot tip on promoting your stores, we'll get right into all this jewelry. I promise. And then really cool instruments. I promise. Hey, cousins. I'd like to tell you a little bit about some strategies we have in our eBay stores to try to market our store on top of, or even instead of, selling an item itself just for the profit on that item. Most of the time, we're buying and selling large lots, trying to sell things individually or in smaller lots just to make money on those items. But sometimes, items that have sat in the store for a while maybe are not terribly valuable. What we'll do is we'll list these things on auction, maybe 100 or 200 at a time for 99 cents or even 1 cent. Now, we make sure that the shipping is going to be covered at all costs. We don't want to something slips through the cracks, it sells for 99 cents, and then we end up owing money on the shipping. So in this case, let's say I buy a lot of items, and I sell 20% of the items, and I've made all my money back on the lot, and I'm into profit. That means the cost of my goods for all the rest of the goods that are left has been covered. Anything that sells at that point is profit at any level, even if it's 1 penny. We'll take those items, some of those, and periodically we'll list those at auction. as long as our shipping is covered, we know that we're going to make money no matter what, whether it's 1 cent or $100. The point of this is not really to make 1 cent, is it? The point of this is to alert people that we sell items at cheap prices of good quality. And these people oftentimes will not only buy one item, but they'll buy multiple items. They'll ask us, do you combine shipping? And we'll say, absolutely we do. If you buy 5 items that would normally have cost $5 or $6 to ship, and they're all small, lightweight items, I can reduce that shipping and just charge you shipping on one item. That way, you've saved, if it was 4 other items, you've saved $20 on shipping by buying them all from me. So I get not just business from one item, I get 5 items worth of business from you, and maybe, just maybe, you consider looking at my store to see if there's other things that are fixed price, higher price that you want to buy as well. Not only that, maybe you'll go in and you'll actually follow my eBay store. We have an eBay store we're operating out of pretty heavily right now that is only 4 months old. And in that 4 months time, we already have 150 individuals that are following our store. And a lot of times these are what they would call repeat customers. I'll actually get alerted by eBay of that. If I sell something, I'll look down my list of sold items and there'll be a little green thing there that says repeat buyer. You know what I like to do? Whenever I package that up to ship it, I'll send them a little note that just says, hey, thanks so much for being a repeat customer. We really value you. Also, sometimes other than just identifying it, saying, hey, we noticed you, we'll slip a little something extra in there. You buy 5 items from me, I'll find something that's also, my cost is already covered, and I'll just add a little extra in there. And then they get 6 items instead of 5. And they're like, shoot, you know what, this is the type of buyer I want to work with. And they'll come back time and time again. So you see, this is a way of sacrificing some of the money we could make on an item if we sold it, buy it now, took longer to sell it. So instead of spending actual money, cash out of my pocket on marketing, I'm actually just foregoing potential profit in order to use that to market my eBay store. If you've never considered that, folks, I think you should. It works for us. And again, we're not making tons of money off of that practice, but it's not really about making the money. It's about moving items. It's about making a little bit of profit. And it's about building a clientele that's going to come back time and time again. Got a handful of things, folks. I picked all this up today, believe it or not. Doggone. We're going to get into some of this jewelry, but real first, let me show you the stuff that is not jewelry, and we'll talk about it real fast. Right here, we've got something called the Big Cliff Fly Box. Now, I just looked up just the box itself, which you buy usually empty, and these things are selling for $24, $25 a piece online, just individually. Well, heavens to Betsy Ross here. Can I please get this puppy open? Goodness gracious. Well, folks, that's why it costs so much, because you if you drop it or something, it's not going to open. It doesn't even want to open when you put your doggone fingers on it. But anyhow, here we go. So we got these flies. Look at these. These are all hand-tied flies for fly fishing. You know, use that fly fishing pole with the long string out there, and you put these on the end of it. You pull back a little bit. It's an art form, folks. If ever there was a sport, it's an art form. It's fly fishing, let me tell you. And people, they have these whole setups, and there's all kinds of different types of bugs at different stages. Larvae all the way up to the full-grown adults. There's males and females. Some of them probably look different times of seasons. Certain seasons, fish are going to be eating certain things. They're going to eat the things that are available to them. You got to know what they eat in the area so you can mimic that, right? And there's some cool stuff. There's at least 50 individual ties in here that have been handmade. And I paid $9 for this. So if this were empty, $9, I'd still be able to double my money. But with all these flies in here, folks, someone's going to get excited about this. If there are collectors for these things as well as people who actually use them. They buy them and they're like, holy smokes, that looks like something I could use around me. It's exciting. So I paid $9 for that. Not exactly sure how much I'll make yet, but that's probably going to be an auction item because I don't exactly know how much I could get for it. Put it up for 7 days. Then I got this puppy right here, $12. It is a Union utility tool chest, and it's in pretty doggone good condition overall, folks. I'll take that sticker off of it, but if you prop this puppy up and you lift her, it comes up still good condition on the inside. A little bit of rust spots here and there, but it's older. Of course, it's probably from the 1950s or 60s. I saw some of these selling for 50, 60 bucks, and even up from that a little bit. And some even worse condition than this. $12 for that. I'll be happy to get my money back. Shifting over, we have this. I paid $30, paid up for these. I was hoping a little bit more when I actually researched them. They're looking like between $50 and $60. Still not that much. I'll double my money or get close to it. These are some Doc Martens, kind of airwalk, like nice Chukka type boots, kind of slick, women's. Somebody will get a hoot out of those. And then we got this right here. Those of you who know vintage toys from the era of my childhood, for example, this is a vintage G.I. Joe vehicle. Is a Warthog? I actually can't remember what this one's called. I'll look it up. The problem, though, is that it's missing several components. There were some machine gun type items right here. There was sort of a kind of a cage type thing that came a fit in these holes, and then you had that kind of, it went over the top of this vehicle. There were little flap things where you could open up and put the little G.I. Joe inside of there, and this side has this little flat part that's stuck there. This one does not, so it's missing several components, which is a bummer. But anytime I see a vintage vehicle or G.I. Joes, I get them, especially for $3. I'll probably get 20 or 25 bucks out of this. I don't know exactly. Maybe not quite that much, but someone will use that. Sometimes when people get things in this condition or worse, what they'll do is they'll actually take off individual components like that, or this little piece over here, or even this antenna, which is bent, but it's still intact. These got snapped off, lost. Mom sucked them up in the vacuum cleaner. Man, how many vacuum cleaner bags are filled with old vintage toys, old Star Wars, guns and stuff, lightsabers. But anyhow, that was fun. I get excited when I see that. And then this right here is an old Sony Sports Walkman. It's an actual on-brand Walkman, and you can see the battery's still working. The whole thing works. $5. I was pleased to find that these sell $50, $75, some of these over $100. Now, of course, if you had the original headphones that went with it, the jack that all worked, that would be ideal. But still, since it works and it was such a low cost, I'm going to do really well with that. Give me a moment, folks. I'm going to pull this junk off here I just showed you. It's not junk. It's worth something. But let's get right into the jewelry. All right. We got lots of other stuff to get to, but I wanted to show you some of this jewelry and talk about it. And then at the end of this video, I'll tell you why oftentimes I think about examining jewelry and examining instruments is very much a similar process, even though they're completely different items. But you can see I've got some things bagged up here. Some are in full lots, like this, for example, is a variety of different brooches. And I'm being careful, folks. Don't freak out on me here. These are various kind of lesser valuable brands in that, or unbranded. And then we have a piece like this, which is kind of like this, like little pieces of agate kind of in there, which is a neat thing. This right here, you can see why I put this together. It's all uniform. This is all Monet costume jewelry, necklaces and stuff. We got a ring in there. And then some of these things, I've laid them out to show you. I'm going to do some of these things individually, and some of these things will be in lots. So, for example, we got some earrings here, and this is kind of like a, not fluorescent, but some sort of a, what do you call that with this color, folks? You know, it's not coming to mind. But anyhow, like this is a Carnegie brand, Hattie Carnegie, I believe. So those are like really good condition. That's a good brand name. It was very easy to spot the brand on the back of the clip there. So that was nice find, easy to find. It cost $2. I'll be able to sell it for well more than that. And then we've got things like this. And the way that this is set up actually is that the clip portion is right here, behind this, right? And then this would just hang and it would dangle like that, right? And so on the back here, again, we're gonna pop on here. We're gonna zoom in. This is Les Bernard, and I know the brand. I'm not as familiar with the prices today, but again, for $2, I'm almost certain with a not as common brand. It's well known, but not as common, meaning I don't find as much of it. I'm sure I'll be able to get a good price for that. And then we have a couple of others. Again, you'll notice I'm doing the same thing for those of you who are new to the channel. You turn these puppies over, you look in different spots. It's not all about, you know, the glam of the first shot on the top here. It's oftentimes you got to be an investigator, right? So this one was a little bit difficult to find. As you can see, it's quite shiny and stuff on the back. And on this particular piece, there's nothing on the item itself. It's actually on the pin itself. And so I'll see if I can zoom in a little bit here. And you can see right here on the pin, as I'm going to point to it right here, I think it's upside down, but it says Krementz, 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 which is a costume jewelry brand. A lot of people would not even know that that was there. A lot of times brands can be on there. If it's a sterling pin, sometimes it says sterling or 925. Other times it'll say things like 1/20th GF gold filled. So 1/20th of it is gold filled. It's a beautiful looking, just like a leaf brooch here. And then we have another one here with rhinestones on the top, gold tone, of course. This is a nice bow dropping down on the back. You can see right here by my thumbnail. I'm going to flip her over. If you were to zoom in, I'd probably have it upside down again, but it says, well, I don't actually. It says Craft. I think that is something, a brand that goes by Art Craft, and that is a costume jewelry brand as well. Both of those will be pretty good. I'm going to list these individually, right? I could do that on the next thing too, but I think I'll, you know, get more people looking at it if I sell them all together. We have 2 brooches here this time in a set of earrings. The thing that's interesting about these, or unique, is that they are all crown trifari. You can see trifari there, and there's above the T is a little crown. The earlier stuff in the history of the company had the crown. The newer stuff don't have the crown. It doesn't mean that if it's older, it's necessarily more valuable, though. I would say most of the time, provided the condition is pretty good, that would be the case. So we got a lot here of 2 brooches and earrings. I can put this in the title. I can say all Trifari, right? All Trifari. That person knows, okay, I'm getting a lot here, but I'm getting all the same brand. This brings all the Trifari customers out, people who you know, like to collect that brand over others, and that's nice. Moving over, let's jump into this beautiful piece that I found just this morning. So this is a lovely little piece here. It's a bracelet. You can see it's again this silver tone leaf motif with these faux pearls in between, right? Got a nice little clasp back here. I'm going to try to rotate around to find. Here it is. It's a push clasp. You would push it with your fingers and separate it. I'm holding one with one hand, so it's a little hard. You got slides out like that. You can see I'm looking at the clasp. I don't see any mark on that side. Let's look at the other side. Do we have a maker? Do we have any other information? Oh, there's something. What is it? Well, look at that. Flip it over, and it says sterling 950. Well, that's curious, is it not, folks? You may or may not be aware that sterling silver is oftentimes referred to or marked as 925. So in order to technically be considered sterling silver, it has to be 925 parts out of 1,000 pure silver. This says 950. Now, I'm not going to say I don't believe it's silver at all because it says 950. It may just be that it is at least sterling, and anything above that it's not pure silver, but it's a little higher than sterling. The first thing I'm going to do is take a magnet and make sure that it is not magnetic, because if it is magnetic, then it's a bogus stamp. This is the type of magnet I like to use a lot. It looks funny, doesn't it? Well, this actually came out of a CD or DVD player out of a car. It's a very, very high-powered magnet. It's the type of magnet that you put above or below, and whenever you put in that CD, it suspends that CD up in the air, and it floats in the air and rotates. But this is a very, very powerful, and so stuff even with a little magnetism is going to pop and connect to this. Look at that. Nothing. So I'm feeling like it's a pretty good bet that it is silver, although I will do a scratch test on it. Now, the difference between gold scratch tests and silver scratch tests, gold, you can actually determine the carat, generally speaking, pretty close to the actual carat weight. Is it 10 carat, 14 carat, 18, 22? With silver, it's not as much like that for just the average person scratching it. You can definitely determine if it has silver content. But will you know the actual percentage of silver? No. In fact, what's interesting is if you were to take gold and silver to a gold or silver buyer, where their whole business is surrounded around the idea of buying a metal at a certain price below spot, then they'll sell it a little bit higher to that to some place that melts it down, okay? The people around here, they'll do scratch tests on gold and buy gold, but they will not actually even buy your silver, even if they think it's silver, unless it's marked 925, because they can't know, oftentimes, what the silver content actually is. It's kind of bizarre, but I'm happy to get this. Even if this were not silver, folks, I think I could sell it for a decent amount more than $2 because it's attractive. And, you know, yeah, mainly because of that. It's a good looking piece. The quality, if you remember our acronym CRACK, us using CRACK to inspect jewelry, you know, quality is the first acronym. If it has good quality, then you're on your way to determine whether or not something's going to have some decent value or not. Moving on, we have several other nice brooches here. You know, brooches are actually pretty darn hot right now. I don't know what it is. Probably certain things in social media, or maybe in different people in the you know, celebrities who are wearing certain things. Maybe it's just coming more in style. But men and women are wearing brooches more and more commonly nowadays. And so let me just show you. This is the look of it. Some of these are probably more attractive to you than others, but let me show you why I bought them. So let's start here. Fairly simple design, gold tone. It's fine. You flip it over and you'll notice that there's a mark. It's a maker. And have it upside down, of course. And so you can see it, Monet. So it's a Monet. I could sell it individually, or I could come over here and throw it in this lot because it's gold tone. It would go well with the necklaces. I might do that. Next one up here is this beauty. Look at that. It's like a little frog, little green eyes and the stones. It was well made. Sometimes there are high-end makers that make these, and those are made out of diamonds or, say, emeralds. I don't think that that's the case here, folks, but they do have a mark of the maker underneath of there, and I can't remember what it is off the top of my head. Maybe you can see it with me. Let's see if I can zoom in real quick. There we go, a little zoom in action. I can't quite tell what it says. I'll have to get back to you on it. But anyways, it is marked. It's attractive. It's somewhat unique. I don't see them a lot. So again, for $2, it's an easy, it's an educated guess. It's not too risky for me to do it. Moving on, we have this. It's quite attractive. All of the stones are in place. Multi-color. We got some enamel paint on the leaves there. And then if you flip this puppy over and you kind of look around, I'm not seeing a maker. So this is an example of a piece that, it doesn't have a maker, but the weight of it is good. It's got a good design. All the stones are present. It has enamel. I think I can get a buyer for that. Again, $2. All of these cost me $2 a piece. I have a place that puts these out. I find good stuff there all the time. Now I'm going to sell these as a lot. Why? Well, because they're similar things, right? This one's beautifully enamel painted with a little, I was going to say there was a stone, but there isn't. It's all just enamel. Beautiful. Flip her over. I'm not seeing a maker, but you can see right here, that metal piece right there, where the top part was actually, or this piece right here was actually soldered into that. It did a pretty good job. It didn't hide it real well, putting the gold over it, but it doesn't matter. It's on the back. And then here's a nice piece with an actual gemstone. It's probably not a gemstone. It's probably glass or something, maybe even a CZ as the eye. I haven't tested it yet. But we've got this nice kind of shimmery enamel paint on there as well. And you flip her over and you're going to see what I believe is LC. LC. I don't remember what the actual brand is or if that's an acronym that stands for something or not. But anyhow, I'll look it up before I list it, but I'll have two different, bird brooches. Those will sell really well. Moving on, here's a nice little thing. It's unique. It's the sun here. You've got these different planets and stars and different. It's gold tone on a silver tone. It's real nice. MJ. I don't remember again what that is, but it could be a pendant or it could be a pin. These are all branded, folks, and this is why I picked them up. Why'd you pick these up? Well, because they have brand names. They're much more likely to sell and for more money, generally speaking, for that. This is, Avon. It's not a super high-end brand. Again, this could be a pendant or a brooch. But look at that. It shines really nice. All the stones are present. And someone's going to like that. Moving to the next few. Got a couple here of the silver tone. Flip this puppy over right here underneath. Monet. It's another Monet. Here we got one. I believe that this is sterling silver, although for the life of me, oh, maybe not. Or I mean, it might be, but right here, you got it's either a W or it's an M. So maybe M for Monet. I don't know. I might have to do some more research. I just got these recently, folks. Haven't even researched. Just wanted to show you right out of the gate what I got. This is a really cool one. Let's actually set this here and zoom in on this one. Zoom in. Look at this piece. The flowers have been enamel painted. You've got these little buds, these like little, almost like a fuchsia color or pinkish color, like ball bead type things, where that's again enamel paint. But then look at the purple. Those are set stones into like these bevels, all these round settings all around. Really nice. I don't know. I'll have to try to test, but those might be amethyst. It's possible that they're glass or rhinestone, but this is a very well made, obviously pretty complicated piece. I mean, someone went to a lot of trouble on this. And you can see right here, it's branded as well. And it says, what does it say? You guys can have to help me out here. It almost looks like it says Monty. Is that possible? M-O-N. I don't think it says Monet. I'll have to look that up, folks, but this is one of those examples where oftentimes I'm put off by this kind of cruddy, textured look on the back of it. A lot of times if I don't see a brand, I see that. More times than not, it's correct that it's probably a cheaper piece, but the weight of it, the complicated piece, the quality of the materials. Also, I didn't even notice, but they have, I don't think that they are, but they almost look like tiny little seed pearls around that. I don't think they are. I think that's enamel paint again, but somebody got real up and close and personal and put a personal touch on this. Very nice piece for $2. Not something that you see very often. Last few items today, folks. Several necklaces by the Marvella brand. On necklaces and bracelets, we're looking at clasps in that area. Sometimes they have hang tags. They make it easy. Marvella, I don't think this is all that old. We got faux pearls, I'm assuming. But maybe these could actually be freshwater pearls. Those could be, cultured pearls. These right here, again, they don't have any knots in between them, so my guess is not real pearls. Just look at our comments. People are talking all the time about the ways that you can identify pearls, and they're usually pretty right about it. I appreciate that, everyone. And then these necklaces right here, as we slide up, you'll see these different types of latches. This one right here on this little flat piece on the other side, it says 1/20th 12 karat GF. That's gold filled. This one right here is going to have a brand on the under and on the other side of it. Let's see, can you zoom in on that? What is that? Givenchy. 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 Another costume brand. And then this one right here again. We've got this little tag right here that connects, and it says that it's gold filled. So this one right here, the pendant on this, well, I'm missing my spot. Nice, beautiful little rose here. You see that? Beautiful little rose, okay? Cool little pendant here. And if I didn't find it on the hang tag, I flip this puppy over and you see it right there. Givenchy, and it has a date or an age, like 1980, I believe it says. Okay, interesting. And then a beautiful little piece right here. That could be amethyst, my guess. I mean, because it's gold filled, it could definitely be amethyst, but it might also be some sort of rhinestone or paste concoction. But a beautiful little piece. It's set in there well. Your light's going through it. That's one of the reasons why I think it could be a genuine stone. And it's quite pretty for the purple people who like purples, Lastly, I've got a couple pieces I need to do some more investigation on. I have an inkling that these might be made out of gold, or at very least gold filled. I can't find a brand on this puppy, and it's very well made. It's got some weight to it, and the feel of it, it just, I've held a lot of jewelry, and this one just is telling me that it's worth a little bit more effort and trying to investigate. So I'm going to do a scratch test on this. Same thing with these earrings, gold tone. They have gold colored posts as well. A lot of times costume jewelry that's gold color, if they are going to go through the earlobe, are going to have stainless steel posts. So they'll be like a silver color, and that's usually a way of telling them apart. It's not too often that you'll have a yellow gold earring with a stainless steel post. I mean, usually they're going to put a gold post on it as well, because gold does not irritate the skin. in the ways that other like lesser valuable alloys can do. Cute little things. They open up. No branding inside. Doesn't mean they can't be gold. Again, they got some good weight to it. We'll do a test, and then we'll figure out from there. Anyhow, folks, this is kind of what I do to evaluate these things. I look, I figure out if they're branded or not. I decide if I want to list them in lots or not based on the value. The things that are more valuable, I'm going to sell individually, of course, and the things that aren't, I'm going to try to move them through having several items at once to draw in more potential buyers. All right, this week, we're going to have to get into these, and going to go through and try to sell these individually. What you're looking at here is around 110 separate individual Thomas the Train trains, and there are various kinds. You know, you've got the engines. I believe this is actually, now this is Edward here. They're different. I mean, some of them are that Guillaume, like the original brand, and some of them are different brands, but they are the names, the original actual Thomas characters. You can see here's one also. This is number 1, so I'm assuming that this is actually Thomas. And on the bottom it does say Thomas, and it'll give you the age as well. This is a 2012. You can see there's that brand, the original brand. And we've got some here. Some are like harder to find, a little less common. I've got some that are connected. They're like a part of a set, or they are their own kind of pieces. And so here's one. It's got like a little magnetic thing that you can pick stuff up with. This is Harvey. Different ones. You'll probably find these a lot of times. A lot of times you're going to also find these in rough conditions. So some of these, this almost looks like a kid or a doggy or somebody has chewed on it. But most of them are in pretty darn good condition. This is the sheep car. Anyhow, going through here, I mean, these, if you sell these individually, I could look up each individual one and try to price them exactly like, but that's going to take a lot of time. And so this is what's going to happen. One of two things. Either I'm going to pull these together and sell them in lots of 4 or 5 a piece, or put them up individually for about, you know, or anywhere from $5 to $10 a piece. I could sell them as a, you know, buy it nows, which are good because when people see it and they like the price, they just go ahead and grab it. But also, if I don't do the research, some of these might be worth 30, 40 bucks, and then someone get a huge steal off of it, which is not always a bad thing with regard to the idea of market in your store. Sometimes it's better to you know, accept a lower offer on something so a person feels like they got a good deal, and then if they feel like you've got good products and you sell them at good prices, then they might follow your store, and that could lead to you know, more sales in the future. We've talked about this before in other videos of ours, but sometimes when we buy these big buyouts, these big lots of antiques and things, we'll come across a variety of items that they were packaged or they've been housed in little boxes. Sometimes they're boxes like this is a Grey Goose vodka box that would have come with little tiny, almost travel size vodka bottles. But then you've also got things like this, which is a Partagas, you know, a cigar box essentially. And you know, these are kind of cool. They're branded. They're made of cedar, a lot of these. And you got some kind of older ones too. These are Romeo and Juliet's. We've got some we got here. This is one that was specifically purchased for a particular restaurant in New York, but these are also you know, cigars. These are kind of vintage ones. You got to be careful. Some of these you can't sell on eBay because of trade embargoes with Cuba, if they are Cuban cigars. So you got to keep a lookout for that. But then even things like this. This is not even an enclosed box. This is actually just a drawer that came out of some sort of a dresser or a desk or something. But it's really old. You got these old nails in that, and believe it or not, vessels, just like boxes, containers of old boxes, carry value in and of themselves. So things like this, even, especially like where you have this is an old school ammo box. This would have had you know, firearm ammunition in it at one time. This one's just sort of like a handmade little container. This could have been in as a drawer, but it's like nice wood. Again, you got those old nails. Don't just throw these things away. A lot of times, like we love it when we get these, because what we do is we take the items out, we sell the items individually or in lots, and then we'll sell the container, the box itself, individually. Not long ago, I got something in a large lot, and it was a nice ammo box. It was an actual Remington, which is a pretty well-known brand for ammunition, box, and that thing sold for $180. And some people might think, oh, it's just an old box, I'm just going to pitch it. Well, don't, folks. It never hurts to float that out there. Sometimes we'll put it up for a high price, just see if we get any lookers or any people interested in watching. We'll send offers. And then if it sits a while, we'll end up reducing the price and put it on as an auction and just try to move it. They do take up a bunch of space, unfortunately, but these are actually on their way out to an antique store that we also sell at. We sell online, multiple eBay stores. We sell at antique stores and some booths from time to time. Maybe looking to open a brick and mortar store sometime soon. We'll tell you about that some more. But keep an eye out for these old boxes. You will not be disappointed. We've started to fill up a previously unused wing here of the warehouse. We got some cool artwork up on the walls here. And a variety of pieces of artwork. These have all come from recent antique store buyouts or thrift store buyouts. We got some really cool artwork here and some old frames. Artwork is tricky, folks, right? Because sometimes it's high value and it makes sense to sell it, but because of the shape and size of a bunch of pieces of artwork, sometimes it's very difficult to package correctly, safely, and ship boxes like this with artwork because, for example, certain sizes, widths, and lengths, about the only box I know that I can buy locally is at places like Lowe's, and the box itself is $40. So you got to invest $40 just in the box. That's not even the packaging on the inside, and then you got to pay for the actual shipping cost. So somebody who wants to buy something, you know, that's maybe, gosh, I don't know. What do we got here? This is really made out of wood, actually, and it's not that old. It's made to look old, but something like that. Actually, that's too small. Let's think of, I don't know, shoot, maybe even just this painting right here. This is probably around 26 to 28 inches, and it's got, you know, the height is even higher than that. So it'd be $40 to buy the box, and then you're probably looking at another $30 to $40 for shipping. And so will a person want that bad enough to pay the price I think the artwork demands plus that much in shipping? Sometimes not. And so sometimes it makes more sense to sell this stuff locally, offload it locally if you can, or maybe hook up with an estate sale that'll sell that on your behalf. Obviously, they'll take a percentage of that, but sometimes it makes the most sense to do that because of just the hassle and also the cost of shipping. Got a bunch of old bottles over here, which is cool. Some of these cobalt blue colored bottles, some milk bottles and stuff. Bottles are certainly highly collectible. Got a bunch of old luggage here, some old Samsonite stuff, some travel bags, leather bags, which is really nice, old clocks. We showed this in a recent video. Got a really cool old, from France, wooden armed, articulating finger, kind of an old dummy here, or an old mannequin. But if you move around, we got some really cool stuff came in. This plexiglass chair, a really awesome, some other really awesome old clocks here. We've got this clock laying here, some other artwork. This is a really, really old painting, probably from the 1700s. It's of an abbey in Europe someplace. We got to get a frame for that though, folks, because it's gorgeous. But that's a perfect example of something that could carry high value, but is a person going to want to A, pay for the shipping, B, do I feel comfortable with something that old and fragile, shipping it, you know, in a box someplace. That might be the kind of thing I say, I want to command the price, but I'm going to require that you're going to come and pick it up locally, right? Come to us, come to the warehouse. So anyhow, we're in a bunch of stuff, but we're filling this up. We got 4 storage units that we've added in the last 2 weeks. My goodness. So we're hoping to move some stuff. That was an initial phase. We're hoping to move some stuff into the warehouse here and lower our overhead cost on the shipping, on the storage units. So anyhow, we've got a lot to do here, folks. We got a big old horse saddle here. Trying to offload. That's an example of something we'd love to sell, say off Facebook Marketplace or something like that. Folks, I'm almost beside myself with excitement. I just got out of an estate sale and I wanted to show you what I just bought before I even touch it, do anything to it. What you're looking at right here, folks, is a 1960 Gibson J45 acoustic guitar. Now, there's some issues. If you'll see right here, the bridge is cracked between the string pegs, all right? More importantly, and a bigger deal than that even, is as you can see here, there has been significant damage to the headstock. This is what they call the dreaded headstock break, where you drop the guitar and it just snaps. This particular one has been re-glued, but it's been done very poorly. It is not flush, so I've taken all the tension off the strings. I'm not going to try to play it. This is going to be a big repair. I'm going to have to pay a luthier to do the work on this. If this was in a good condition, meaning we didn't have a snap and we didn't have a problem with the bridge, I've seen them out there for sale as high as $8,000, but I've seen them sell in the $5,000 range. Okay, I paid $1,000 for this instrument. I'm going to have to put between $500 and $800 most likely into it, but that's still half of what it's worth. It will not ever be as valuable as one that never had damage, but if it's done right by the right person, it'll be great. Swinging over here, I bought this as well this morning. What you're looking at is a 1914 Model A mandolin. It doesn't have the Gibson script, though it is a Gibson instrument. You can tell by the sound hole. In the sound hole, you've got a label there, and it says Gibson. It says the serial number, and it says style A-. Look up the number. This is a 1914. This is an original tortoiseshell pickguard. It's damaged, terrible condition. It's also snapped up here. If this had been in good condition, I still would have removed it before playing the instrument, because I would not want to damage it. The only thing that this is missing, aside from the fact that I'm going to take off the pickguard, is the floating bridge. So this is going to require a replacement part, either a newer one, or hopefully I can find an original one. That'll cost me more, but it'll work out better in the long run. The tailpiece is original, still good. The pin here is kind of whittled down, but it's original, I believe, as well. It's got a little abalone in there. Beautiful. No cracks anywhere on this instrument. Really nice. Really solid still. I paid $300 for this mandolin. This is probably a $1,600 to $1,800 mandolin. It might be a couple $100 more if the pickguard were intact. And then finally, this right here. Once again, it is a Gibson. It is a banjo Lin, kind of. It's like a banjo, short scale banjo mandolin style. It's got 4 strings. It needs a new head here. This is kind of coming detached, so that needs to be put on. But this is sort of rare. This is called the UB3. And to find one with the fleur-de-lis inlay is quite hard to find. These sell in the $2,000+ range. I paid $350 for this. $1,000, $300, and $350, or $350 and $300. I can't remember which one. I'll have to go back and look at the tag. But essentially, I spent $1,700 today for 3 instruments, but from Gibson between 1914. This is from the 20s, probably 25, 27, something like that, all the way up to 1960. These instruments, when I'm done with the work, are going to probably be cumulatively worth, I don't know, around $7,000, $7,000 to $8,000, and I paid $1,700 today. On top of that, and we haven't even gotten into this, this is an original vintage snap-on toolbox. And guess what's inside of this, folks? Well, I can't open it because the top's not open. Snap-on tools. If you know anything about Snap-on, they're quite valuable. Oh, I got a lot to cover in this video, and I'm just really pleased today. Hey, cousins. I'm on the road again, folks. This is part of the job. If you don't like driving, then, I don't know, you're going to have a hard time sourcing unless you're really good at doing it online. Opportunity came up today. Actually came up about a week ago. I've been kind of in communication with a guy, but it was for a vintage Martin guitar. This would be a 018. It's a 1969. So the deal with it is it has a tiny little crack on the top near the sound hole, and the pick guard is gone. Now probably what happened, and this happens a lot of times with these vintage instruments, is that over time that plastic degrades depending on, you know, how it was stored, or if there was smoke around it a lot, or if it was around moist environment or too dry, that glue comes undone. They start to kind of peel up and curl up off the edges. Now, maybe it just looked ugly. Maybe it got so badly that it affected playability, and at some point, someone removed it. When they did that, they took off a little bit of wood off the top. Not too much, but enough so that if you were to re-glue or re-stick a new pick guard on it, there'd be some gaps underneath. And so this person at first was putting it up for $2,200, okay? After about a week of no one buying it, I found on eBay that they'd listed the same guitar for $3,500. And just in case you're not aware, this particular guitar, probably in good condition or decent condition, is in that $3,000 to $4,000 range, depending on if you're on Reverb or on eBay or wherever else, auction sites. So in talking to the person, kind of communicating, I got him down to $1,700. I showed up today. I picked up this guitar for $1,700. I'm going to take it back to the warehouse, take a look at it. Just from my initial inspections, here's what I noticed. It does have the crack. It doesn't go too far. It's not all the way through the top, and I think that with a little work, I could probably do it myself, or I might have a local luthier do it. We're talking $200 or less if I had someone do the work, okay? To cleat that and glue it. The pick guard is missing, and it does have that issue like I described. All I need to do with that is get some wood putty, basically take like a spackle knife or something like that, put that down into the grooves of the divots, smooth it out, let it dry, lightly sand that, trying not to sand on the actual wood itself, blow that off, clean it off, and then I buy a replacement pick guard that I can get for 10 or 12 bucks, okay? That takes care of the aesthetics. It does have a minor lift behind the bridge where the tension of the strings have been pulling on the bridge and pulling it up a little bit. I will probably want an expert to take a look at that and tell me. But all that to say, the cost of the other things, if I can do the re-glue myself, and I'll do the pick guard issue myself, minimal, $15, $20, and I'll be able to turn around and sell this guitar for hopefully between $3,200 and $3,500, exactly what this man was asking. I think the reason it hadn't been sold quickly on eBay was because of the aesthetics, but at the time I purchased this, there were 25 watchers on his eBay listing in the condition it was in. So if I improve the look a little bit, throw it back up for $3,500, I bet I could sell that within a week and net, after eBay fees, somewhere between $1,200 and $1,400 profit. So I'll show it to you when I get back to the warehouse. Cousins, here we are. We're back at the warehouse. I'm going to show you this right here, exactly what I was just talking about. You can see this nice little instrument here. Martin & Company. Beautiful little instrument. I like how they got this set up here. As opposed to having a strap peg gone into the neck heel there, they have this. You can connect your strap and then you don't have to screw into it. Nice condition fretboard here. The frets definitely have some wear. Could be, you know, there's definitely playable, but maybe at some point we'll get them redone. You can see some scratching on the top there from just heavy play and particular style that a person played. You can see here on the pick guard where I'm showing you, you can see those kind of divots where some of that wood came up. The crack is right here, right at the edge of where that pick guard was. When that pick guard started to curl up, it was pulling on the top with that glue, and it caused that kind of crack there. And it may have been that that's why they removed it, so that that crack didn't get worse, and maybe it stopped. Well, Rusty's going to try to get in there and do a little work on that, fill in some glue in that to keep it from going any further. It doesn't go beyond this point, a tiny little line there, but I looked on the inside of it. I got a mirror that kind of extends and can go in there and see, but anyhow, pretty good there. You can see right here how the top is kind of lifting slightly. You can kind of see that indentation there. Otherwise, the action is quite nice right here. And, you know, it's got those typical scuffs and dings and stuff that you get, some of that, what they call buckle rash sometimes, where your belt buckle would scratch on that. But still pretty beautiful. I like the look of the grain on that body. But, you know, for $1,700, I'm quite pleased. She sounds real good, too. cousins, for being here again. Hopefully that helped you out. We'll see you soon. We got lots more stuff coming right around the corner. Talking about a rusty how to. 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 Rusty how to.